Let's move now on to this weekend's games. There's a good slate of games this weekend. You could probably say the best matchup between two ranked opponents is Miami going to Virginia Tech. Miami's looked awfully impressive, starting the season unranked. Now they've already skyrocketed to number 9. Ja'Cory Harris didn't even throw for over 200 yards in one game last year. He's done it twice already this year. Miami's beaten 2 ranked opponents. Mike, do they make it 3 this week in Blacksburg?
I think they do. You know how I feel about Virginia Tech. Tyrod Taylor got lucky against Nebraska. Virginia Tech, without a strong running game, is not going to be able to run the table in the ACC. I like Miami to win this game. I think their offensive weapons are phenomenal, and I don't want to be too reactionary. I mean, they've only won a couple games. They've been quality wins, but they're battle-tested. So is Virginia Tech, but I like Miami to win this game. Randy Shannon's done a great job putting that team together and getting them ready to play in some of these really tough games. So they'll be ready, and they're going to come out of Blacksburg with the W.
What do you think, Jordan?
I agree with Mike, Alex. I think that Miami is going to go in there and win the game. Ja'Cory Harris has looked outstanding, but this Miami defense against the run, Georgia Tech was able to move the ball down the field a few times because of their returns, their kick returns, and their punt returns and stuff of that matter. Besides that, Miami has looked about as good or impressive as any team in the country. They've had some pretty competitive games here to start off the season, and they've prevailed in all of them. And I think Miami just has the personnel to do it, the athleticism to do it. Virginia Tech, they had, as Mike mentioned, might have gotten a little lucky. I don't know how you leave someone that wide open heading down the field that late in the game for that huge game that helped Virginia Tech win. I was impressed with Tyrod Taylor to stay composed, and that's the type of situation maybe he doesn't win in last year. And he looked good winning that game, and I just think Miami's going to take care of business.
I'm going to pick Virginia Tech, and okay, I know there's no love for Tyrod Taylor in this room, but that last drive was phenomenal. He made great passes, and I know there was a little lucky, but hey, wasn't Ja'Cory Harris lucky the first game when they beat Florida State? I mean, that was pretty lucky what he did at the end of that game. I mean, so I think Miami's good. I think they're for real. I think they're going to end the season ranked. They're going to have probably 9, 10 wins. But I like Virginia Tech. I think their defense is about as good as Miami's defense, maybe even a little better. It's in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech's won 10 in a row in Blacksburg. I think it's a very close game, a very good game. But I'm going to give it to Virginia Tech. Also, I picked them to win the ACC, so I almost got to pick Virginia Tech to win this game. TCU, Clemson, we're going to stay in the ACC this weekend. TCU has won 4 of the last 6 road games versus BCS opponents that they've played in. It took me a while to find that stat. But now they got to go to Death Valley, and it's probably TCU, you could argue, their toughest game of the season. Jordan, do you think they get out of there alive?
TCU is my BCS buster, little golden child, if you will. I really like the team that TCU has this year. However, this is about as trap game as you can get here. Going into Death Valley for any team is difficult, no matter how good Clemson is. However, the TCU defense is very good, and if they can contain C.J. Spiller, I think they win this game. I picked TCU to be my team to get into the BCS. It's going to be a tough road. They still are at Utah and are at BYU and have to play Utah as well as playing at Clemson. But I'm going to say they win this game, and as you mentioned, they do play well against BCS opponents on the road.
Clemson coming off a big win against Boston College. I know Boston College is down, but a big win. They're coming off a lot of confidence from a second half against Georgia Tech that was very strong, and a great full team effort against Boston College for the win. So I think Clemson's going to win this game. I'm really a fan of Dabo Swinney. He connects with the players. He gets them ready to play. Even in that loss against Georgia Tech, at halftime, they battled back, and they made it close, and they were almost able to win. So C.J. Spiller against a tough TCU defense will probably be the difference either way, but I think Clemson wins a close one in Death Valley.
I agree. C.J. Spiller is the difference in this game, and that's why I will pick Clemson to win this game. I think they're one of the best teams in the ACC. They got a great defense. Do you know what? They shouldn't have fallen down 24-0 to Georgia Tech. But hey,
they,
you know
like
what?
I said, they battled back in the second half.
They battled back in the second half.
And that's why I think they're going to be.
And Clemson has won 15 of the last 16 games versus non-BCS opponents at home. They'll make it 16 of 17 this weekend. I love Clemson. I love their defense. I love Dabo Swinney. I did pick them to win the division in the ACC, so I'm sticking with my picks. And I think TCU is a good team. I think they're going to probably win 10 games this year, but I don't think they're going to go into the BCS because the Mountain West is tough. They do got to play Colorado State, and as you mentioned, Utah, BYU. And I personally don't think any non-BCS team is going to get into the BCS. And Boise State, they don't play one ranked team the last of the year. So even if they go undefeated, they don't deserve to get in. If your toughest game remainder is at Tulsa, then it tells you how garbage your schedule is. Hey, Boise, why don't you be like Utah? Go play some real teams. I know you played Oregon, but all these other cupcake teams, I mean, they play Bowling Green this weekend. Oh, man, that's going to be a tough one. I know Bowling Green isn't bad, but I mean, come on.
I'm with you, though.
Play some good teams. I mean, not one of the teams on their schedule this year is ranked. I know Oregon was earlier in the year, but now they aren't.
Well, yeah, and one thing I really want to say really quick about the TCU-Clemson game is even though TCU is ranked 15th in the nation, I think on a national perspective, you almost have to look at it as an upset opportunity for them to beat Clemson. I think if they win that game, it's almost like the upset because playing at Clemson, Clemson's a team that's knocking on the door. You know, within the next few games, will probably fall into the top 25. So, I think that'd be kind of an upset type thing for TCU. Yeah, at least have the emotion of it.
I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson was favored for the spread in this game. But back to your quick point about Boise State, I'm with you. I think they're going to go undefeated and they are going to go to the BCS. But do they deserve it? No. Absolutely agree. They need to step it up.
Rushers out for the season now too.
Absolutely, they need to step it up, like BYU and Utah, and schedule some more tough opponents out of conference.
And Boise did not look good against Fresno State this weekend. They gave up a lot of points, and I know it was on the road. It was at Fresno, but Fresno isn't what they've been the last couple of years. I mean, to go there and give up the amount of points that they did, and it was a game for a while. I mean. Boise State, they do not play good teams. Last year they went undefeated. They played a 2-loss TCU team in a bowl game, and TCU beat them. I mean, I'd like to see TCU because I know TCU's schedule's tough. I mean, they played at Virginia earlier this year. I know Virginia, they aren't what they were, but at least you got to give them play at Clemson.
With the right intentions.
Exactly, at Clemson, at Virginia, and plus the Mountain West is a lot tougher than the WAC. I don't know how I got off topic talking about Boise State, but I did. Now let's go on. We'll stay out kind of out west. Number 6, Cal taking on Oregon. Jordan, who do you like in this one?
I hate to do this because I do not like so far what I've seen out of Chip Kelly in Oregon. For some reason, though, even though Cal was impressive at Minnesota, the number 6 team in the nation should not have had that much trouble against Minnesota. Yeah, Best had 114 yards in the first half and 3 touchdowns. What did he do in the second half? He had 17 yards and 2 touchdowns that couldn't have been that long if he only had 17 yards. That just shows how much they rely on him because Minnesota got right back in that game because of his lack of productivity in the second half. Kevin Riley hasn't proven anything to me over the past few years. I think that Oregon, they've been winning they've won the last 2 games now, so I think they're going to go ahead and beat their second-ranked opponent in 2 weeks. It's tough. It's tough for me to say this. Like I said, I don't like what Oregon has looked like. I just think that it's a good opportunity for them to, again, beat a ranked team. I do think Cal is slightly overrated in number 6 spot.
Mike?
They may be a little overrated, but they're going to win this game. Ralph Bolden for Purdue ran all over Oregon's defense. Javid Best is going to do the same thing. Cal's going to go in there and get the win. I attribute that Minnesota game being close because Minnesota, brand new stadium, good atmosphere, much better than the Metrodome in the past. And the fact that Cal historically, at least over the last decade, has not done well when they've traveled to the Midwest or traveled to the East Coast. So I think they just had some issues internally. They still won the game. Javid Best carried the team. I think they go into Oregon this week, run all over that Oregon defense, and get the victory. I think Mr. Riley's done a decent job at quarterback. He'll need to improve if they want to win a Pac-10 championship. But I'm taking Cal on this one.
I'm taking Cal too. But since we're running short on time, I'm just going to say for the reasons that you said, Mike, because you pretty much said what I was going to say.